No, this is not Forza Horizon 5. This game actually has not lazy developers. In this episode of BeamNG Roadkill Projects, we make a Crown Vic. Did not mean to do a reverse burnout. Oh boy. So, possibly the most amazing mess slap and very well executed port of a car ever has occurred for this game. You know, they've done it with the Dodge Charger, and that wasn't really that good. The Miata's all right. You know, there's things about the Miata that I'd love to see improved. And there's a Dodge Ram for the game now as well, very similar to the one that I drive. And we'll be doing a video on that soon. But this right here, I would say, is the cream of the crop. And it's a Crown Vic. This makes the DeLorean look mediocre that we just built. This is it. It's basically like, you know, I love Datsuns, and then second gen Dodges are a soft spot of mine. But if there's anything next to a Datsun that's newer that I like, it it's a Crown Vic. Like, I do believe that they are the unkillable, the unkillable car of of our century, pretty much. It is a car that they built from like 1999 all the way to what, like 2011, 2012, and they're unkillable. The engines, you can rev the shit out of them. You can do what you want to these cars, and Cletus McFarlane has proven that because he's raced like 40 of them on a racetrack at once, and not a single one of them has really died from a big mechanical issue. Like, yeah, I think like one or two have died from mechanical issues, or they're just slow because of them, but pretty sure not a single one of them has blown up during a race with like a 50 to maybe even 100 shot of nitrous. I don't know how much he puts into them. Fortunately, we can't put nitrous on this because for some reason the mod creator forgot to put nitrous on the car. I don't know how he managed to do that, because these are basically engines ported from the Grand Marshal, but redesigned to fit the 2-valve and the 4-valve 4.6s that these cars had. And unfortunately, this is a 2-valve, so this is not the good engine. So pretty much, this is like getting a 4.5 liter in a Grand Marshal rather than a 5.5 liter. I'm pretty sure the black Grand Marshal has the 5.5 liter, but yeah, reason why we're here with both these cars is well, first of all, the black car, I picked that up 2 years ago now at this point, around the 4th of July, because I realized just how much of a cool car it is. And I've just had it in stock form for the longest time now, because it's not anything special, and I hate to say it, but the car's not interesting to me anymore, because it's not that fast. The supercharger legitimately adds no horsepower on the Grand Marshal. So the goal is make the Crown Vic faster than the Road Sport Grand Marshal. And then if anybody ever gets back, I now have a community tab on the channel, so that's where you can kind of get sneak peeks now. I haven't really been posting to Instagram that much, but yeah, the community tab, you can get sneak peeks and stuff when it's coming out now. And if you check there, I'm looking for someone who could potentially put a turbocharger on the 5.5 liter V8 instead of a supercharger, and an adjustable one to where I can ramp a bunch of boosts into it and make this thing as close to a stock Marauder as I can. And I had this before Cletus even unveiled his, so can't yell at me for keeping it around for just that fact. It's just that I like the car. And for some reason, the Grand Marshal is like the most perfect platform in BeamNG for some reason for doing anything. And that's kind of really the goal with this Crown Vic, because when I say that this is the most glorified mesh slap that the game has ever seen, the engine makes the power of a Crown Vic, the transmission shifts like a Crown Vic's, it's boaty like a Crown Vic, it weighs as much as a Crown Vic, when I feel like the Grand Marshal doesn't really embody a Crown Vic that much. It feels lighter than one. This, though, this feels like a 5,000-pound steel car. But also, it handles like a Crown Vic. It's actually a fairly confident car, and the guy who put time into this actually owns the car in real life, and I feel like that helped him make this mod. And it's great. It's like a real Crown Vic. It doesn't drive like one in Forza. It doesn't drive like one in BeamNG. It drives like what I would think like a real boaty, big 4,000-pound car would drive. So, goal is do what I would do to the Road Sport, but that's going to get saved for Turbo. This is going to get Supercharger, because, yeah, I could do pretty minimalistic things to this and get a Supercharger on it and make 20 pounds of boost and not have any engine issues. So, yeah, that's good. And the tires won't spin, hopefully, but yeah, so the plan is, Grand Marshal, if anybody can get a turbocharger for the 5.5 liter or some sort of an engine with a turbocharger on it with an adjustable turbo that can be seen on the engine. I don't want the turbocharger to look like a supercharger. I don't want the turbocharger to be non-existent, just make the noises. I know it's a sleeper, but I'd like to see the turbo there as well, because I'm a picky motherfucker. So, yeah, if anybody can make something or redo the Mega Gravel engine pack, even though it's not available anymore, you can do something to make the Black Grand Marshal work with a turbo. I will be forever grateful, and it will be a part of a really cool video that I want to do down the line here. So, you got a couple months before that happens, though, so take your time. But let's get into this thing, and I would like to drag race it first, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to get right into putting a supercharger on it. So, and I would like to say, it sounds like a Grand Marshal, but there's something this guy did to make it like a Crown Vic. I'm going to wait to stomp on it here somewhere. Let's, yeah. We'll get around this corner, go down the road. He went through the effort to get the car to actually make the Crown Vic whine, but with the transmission. Yeah. Oh, even the interior lights turn on. Like I said, this is the most glorified Crown Vic or mesh slap that I've ever seen, but it's done so damn well that I don't even want to consider it a mesh slap, because it's just done so damn well. Alright, well, let's get the other car to just see what the performance is like after so long. See, it spins the tires, it can do burnouts, but like it has more top end. I just want that instant power from down low and a lot of boost. 9 pounds of boost is not going to do this for this car. So a turbocharger with turbo lag I feel like would be perfect. But I do have a nitrous kit for this car, so we might be putting nitrous on it today. And making this tiny bit faster before it gets turbo, if it ever does. So, yeah. Alright. So, Goal is keep the hood supercharger. That's the only goal. And it's keeping the stock engine, but all it's going to get is an ultra heavy duty long block. Not even taking the hood off. It needs a late plus ECU. This is basically a Marauder ECU. It needs that. Stage 2 supercharger. And because I figured this out, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, I like that better. Yeah, that's it. We're done. This episode's really more about having fun with a Crown Vic that really shouldn't exist, but yeah. But this car pulls like that car should. Well, this thing's also heavier, so I'm hoping power to weight and everything will make the cars pretty even. So, yeah. But I am going to have a ridiculous amount of fun in this car. This is basically going to be cop car number 2, but not for burnouts. Well, I'm going to do burnouts, but not burnout competitions where I destroy the rear end of the car every time. Alright, let's see how it launches. It's a ripper. Alright, let's get it over to the track. Time to have fun. Okay, so I would run the Crown Vic right now, but cooling system's not happy. So the car is a little hot, so that's going to cool down. And we're going to run this around the small autocross track. Let's just compare handling, because this is more of a sports car variant, I'd assume, for the Grand Marshal. This is supposed to be the Marauder of the Grand Marshal. So this is basically the Crown Vic, but lore friendly. So, yeah, let's see. And see, this is just the thing that's always bothered me about the Grand Marshal. Even with stock suspension, it doesn't really feel like the car is that boaty. It feels like that this big car only weighs about 3,500 pounds, which it probably does. It's also really quick around this course, and a lot of brake steer, or bump steer, I think is the correct term. But, yeah, even though the car is great, it's really quick. I'm not a fan on how it's just too light. It's a very light car. The cop car aids it pretty well. The drift car is supposed to be light, or the drift marshal. Still need to fix that. The car's 2 years of being down now. Yeah. This car, though, it feels like it's a modified race car. And it's not. It's stock. Crown Vic, though, ooh, it's still hot. Oh well. Now note that this is probably packing more power than the Road Sport now. But I'm probably going to have a lot of fun. There's probably going to be a lot of tire smoke. Well, it's a drift car now. Oh my god, it's going so wide. Oh, it's quick in the straights, though. The car is overheating still. It needs a better radiator. So yeah, fun factor. It's a Bodie V8 powered four-door sedan versus a not so Bodie V8 powered supercharged sedan. I feel like I'm really taking a shit on Grand Marshals here, which I'm trying not to, but yeah. The car has come a long way, the Grand Marshal, because if anybody remembers Sean's Impala Marshal that we had way, way back in the day, before this car got a remaster, the engine would make so much power that it could bend the rear axle. So I would say that the Grand Marshal in base BeamNG is a solid car. It's just that someone's managed to take the Grand Marshal, skin a Crown Vic onto it, and make the Crown Vic feel more like what this car should feel like. But next, this car is going on the big track. Yeah, one lap around the big track once it cools down. Okay, the big track. The track that I'm scared of. This is either about to be a show or really terrible if I crash the car, because then I'm going to want another one. I already want another stock one. Alright. Brakes are going to be toast after this. This thing's actually handling really well. Even though it's so boaty. Yep, there go the brakes. Cop brakes, everybody. The Blues Brothers were wrong. Come on. The cooling system cannot handle this. Oh yeah, look at it. Yep, cooling system cannot handle it. I am riding a thin line of blowing a head gasket. Oh, yeah, it's gonna go. Well, that was sad. Alright, well, we'll get to the drag racing portion of this show. Alright, it all comes down to this. But first, even though the cooling system's not happy, beautiful. Get in the groove better. Okay. I made a 1243 into this car. That's actually pretty good. That's not what I'm supposed to be, right? Well, you know what? That should be stock. ABS. Why I don't run it on cars. Nah, it's gonna be slower. Yeah, 1253 to a 15.6. That's how slow this car is stock, a 15.6. And I am glad that we have slightly improved this car and made a fool out of a road sport, because that's the type of torque it should have, not 9 pounds of boost. It's pretty disappointing. Alright, well there you go, everybody. That is the Crown Vic and BeamNG now. And next is really just making the Dodge Ram, and then I have the perfect triangle fleet of cars that I would want in any video game. But yeah, the Crown Vic's always in them, the wrong kind of Datsun's always in them, and we never get a second-gen Dodge in half the games. So here you go, though. Crown Vic. What else do you want to see this car actually do? I think we can prove that the Crown Vic can also be the ultimate Swiss Army knife. But down the line here, I think I have to do Grand Marshal versus Crown Vic. The ultimate battle. Yeah. Who can be crowned the best boat four-door missile? That means I'm going to have to make something like the cop car. Or something as fast in a Crown Vic chassis. So stay tuned for that. But hopefully you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.